Morning, guys. Quick little Fleabay edition here. Just going through today, and there was a Atlas horizontal mill, and that's the thing that really intrigued me, and I thought it was worth looking at because it shows it's an earlier mill, shows quite a bit of other stuff. So let's quickly go through the other stuff that's here, just to get it out of the way, and then we'll spend a little bit of time on this if there's anything worth looking at here. Under shapers, got the same shapers that were out there. Somebody's added a shaper vise, rare, original, all that crap. Top of the vise itself has been planed off at some point. It looks like I'm not going to go into it. They want $375 and $50 shipping. Comes out of Canada. Way too much money. You know, these vices are worth a couple $100 in good condition. The jaws are definitely marked across the top where a shaper bit's been run across and banged into it. I'll say banged into it because it's kind of various parts across there. So not a whole lot of care was taken, but the jaws can be replaced easily enough. But the top of the vise itself has been planed off. It doesn't really affect the function of it other than you know, if you were foolish enough to give $375 and then $50 shipping, why you'd expect it to be in the castings at least to be in pretty pristine condition. You know, I'm not talking about paint condition, but you'd expect all of the castings to be there and not be planed off. And if you look at this one, you can see that it has been planed off. I'm going to skip and go to lathes, and we'll come back to mills. Don't know. There's a few things here that are been added since I've looked this morning, and most of it I'm not going to even bother to look at it. You know, you can go back and look at this. We've talked enough about this junk that they're selling, the junk, that you've got a pretty good idea of what you're looking at here. A lot of things, somebody's added a lot of parts since I've looked at it earlier this morning. Yeah, a whole lot of junk. Whole lot of junk. Change gears. Excellent Atlas Craftsman 10-inch, 12-inch lathe, 42 threading change gear, $44.99 and $5.25 shipping. Yeah, you are smoking dope. Smoking dope. $20 in the door. Yeah, this stuff is so far out of price that I'm not even going to look at this stuff. You can go back and look at all this crap that they're trying to screw you over on. Let's go back to milling machine stuff, and we'll actually look at some pictures because the mill actually did intrigue me. Down below, I don't know if there's a whole lot of new stuff there. Well, there is some stuff since we've chatted last. There's a bunch of somebody's parting out a mill, and okay. We'll just quickly go through this stuff. I don't know that I'm going to stop and look at most of it. Atlas Horizontal Mill M1 401 Spindle Belt Guard Cast Aluminum Design. This is the top cover that goes on. They want $600 and $64.15 shipping. Oh, this is a seller that's just constantly trying to screw you. He's got stuff so far overpriced. What's the description say? This is version A, which was made a very fragile cast iron. Later units were the Model B, where they are made with aluminum, have a slightly different cut. This will fit any Atlas mill, but was designed specifically for the first generation. The B was designed for generations 2 and 3. Super rare, super fragile. These, like the motor mounts, broke continually for these machines. Just happened to have one final extra with my build. Oh, sorry, shipping is so high. What's he want for shipping for it? $65, $64.15. Yeah, this guy, you're being screwed royally. Now, see up at the top, he also says cast aluminum belt guards. I've never seen these upper guards cast in cast iron. And let me look at this a little bit. Oh, and this is a 401B. This is an aluminum guard. So either he's misrepresenting what he's selling or doesn't know what he's selling, but this is clearly marked as a Model B. I have not seen I've never seen one of these made in cast iron. Never, never, never. Maybe, but this is not one of them. Okay. So there are several generations of this, and well, not several, but there's two or three. And let me just show you a big picture of it, and then we won't spend too much time on these. See if there's a picture here that shows the. There's not one that really shows a good picture of this guard from the outside. Here's a picture of this guard. What it is. This is a B model. I'll go back and figure out which the different variations on the model are. The one on my mill is a early model, so I'm going to say it's a A. Maybe it's a B. Maybe A's were made out of cast iron. I don't know. I'll have to go back and research those. Anyway, standard guard. I have cast at least two of these guards, and I have at least two of them, one of different models. The early one is the one that is on my machine, and I'll have to go and look and see if that is indeed an A or a B type of thing. And this is one of the things we'll look at on the milling machine itself when we get to it, because it is an early model, very similar to mine. You know, my reproductions of these are probably in that $150, $175 range. The top covers are a little bit tougher to cast in a small foundry like I've got, but nonetheless, I've done these in the past, and I will eventually have a stock of these on hand. But yeah, $600. This is really a ripoff, is what this is. Anyway, let's go on back up. He's got the side guard that swings open that goes along with it. He wants $664.15 shipping. This is a $150 guard on a bad day. On a bad day. Yeah, this is another. Yeah, this is an M1402B. This is a guard that goes with the one in his other listing. You know, this is way overpriced. I think I've got at least one of these in stock. What's his condition say about? And another $65 shipping. That guard actually fits in a medium flat rate box for about $20, or a large flat rate box, something like that. This is version B, which was made of very fragile cast aluminum. Earlier models were the A that were made with cast iron. I've never seen one on it. I've never seen a cast iron one. The earlier ones that clamped on, which would be what was on my mill originally, is an aluminum guard. The bracket was broke off of it. Yeah, the A was designed for generation 1. This will fit in the Atlas mill. It was designed specifically for the second and third generations. Super rare, super fragile. These, like the motor mounts, broke continuously on these machines. I just happen to have one final extra from my build. Yeah, same crap. Oh, I'm sorry shipping is so high, but these have to be padded like crazy. They are as fragile as a piece of crystal. Bullshit. This guy is a piece of work. $125 guard on a good day. On a good day, and when you represent them like this, as far as I'm concerned, they're worth about $50. What a ripoff. Okay, yeah, same things. Countershaft hanger pulley assembly, $600. I'm not even going to look at these. Motor mount tensioner bracket and pin, S774B, $75 and $10 shipping. I think these are all from the same guy. Atlas Mill M1404 hinge bracket and pin, 406, 403. Now these brackets, and I'll just show you the big picture very quickly. We won't spend much time on these. All this is a shaft that comes out. This boss mounts into the one end of the shaft. The rest of it goes through. The top cover pivots on these 2 points. You can see where they're worn. This would sit on this outboard end here, and that's the hinge that supports that lower guard. I actually have a pattern made up for these. I've cast these in aluminum, and on an aluminum guard they work just fine. You know, he's wanting $70 for that rusted up piece of, I believe that's 1/2 inch shafting. That's probably got, that looks like it's got a pin in it. I don't necessarily remember them having a pin unless it's what held the hinge itself on there. This is the pin that goes down through the hinge and it pivots on. He's wanting $75 for this piece of shit. This is about, oh, that casting itself, a new casting is going to be worth, in aluminum is going to be worth $25. See, I'm starting to overprice you guys. I'm starting to overcharge you on stuff because they're ripping you off so bad on these. You know, I'm just curious. What's this? Oh, he wants $100. $100 and $10 to ship it. That's a ripoff. Hey, he doesn't say anything. It's that Atlas milling machine parts. All right. Here I am getting worked up over this stuff for no reason at all. This irritates me so bad when you're trying to rip people off like this. He wants $70 and $9.65 shipping. Atlas mill M1405 stop stud assembly and pin and spring. $75 for this rusted up piece of junk. What this is a piece of shafting. I believe it's 1/2 inch shafting. This is a spring that sits out there, which is just a little piece of spring steel. We got a flat mill, 2 screws hold it on, and then it's a mounting stud. Build this yourself. Don't even think about buying this piece of crap from this guy. This is a rip-off is what this is. Yeah. No. MF power feed assembly, complete assembly. It does have the gearbox and stuff, but he wants $700 for it. No. Rare Atlas horizontal mill arbor driver. $85. I think I sell reproductions brand new for what, 65, 55, 50, something like that. Horizontal mill arbor support arm assembly, 550 and 21. That's that 1.25 inch, 1.5 shaft that costs you $50 if you go and buy it brand new. The arbor support itself that goes on there that it runs on. You know, I've got some of these cast in aluminum that I haven't finished machining. They were originally cast iron, I think 3 different versions of them. You know, the complete assembly is worth $125 maybe on a good day. M1560 7/8 arbor original, $350 and $16.10 shipping. Is this the same? Oh yeah, same rip-off artist. This is an arbor assembly that's beat to shit. You know, a brand new one should go for about $200 if they're brand new and properly built. These guys are pieces of work. This guy in particular. Now here's a milling machine head cover, cast iron feed cover and tools. $150 and $15 shipping. This is a different guy. As nice as they come. This is a headstock cover for an Atlas milling machine. No damage, cracks, or repairs. Look at the pictures. Keep watching. I'm going to be selling parts off this machine. You're going to be trying to rip people off on this stuff is what you're doing. You know, I think I've got one of these kicking around that I bought years ago, and since I'm building a MHB, why I have no need for the one that I've got. Somebody wants one of these, you let me know and I'll sell it to you for about $75 in shipping. I figure at $75 I'm making pretty good money. Not a very popular casting. There's really no reason. I've never seen one of these broke. No reason really to be changing these out at all. You know, market value of these for the demand that I think you probably will see for one of these should be about, you should be able to get this casting with everything on it for $75, you know, without any problem at all. And the seller's making good money at $75 unless they're, you know, you're being overpriced there. Anyway, calm myself down and move on here. Now this seller had, and I wonder if somebody was foolish enough to buy it, he had a one of the sheet metal stands, and I don't see it here now, so maybe some poor victim bought it. I think he wanted $450 for it, $400, something like that. That stand should be worth $200 on the outside. You know, it was advertised that it had the optional drip tray extension that went underneath the motor. That was not an optional drip tray extension. That's something somebody built and put on there. Those, as far as I know, they never built a extension to the drip tray on top. Anyway, now there's an MF here, and this is worth, excuse me, this is worth looking at just because there's several things to look at. Now This seller, this is an actual machinery dealer. He's wanting $2,700 for this. Free local pickup. He's wanting $2,700 for it. This machine's worth 12. It's worth less than half, about half. So I think we'll just try and go through and look at the big pictures of this, and I'll show you what I think about it. And you can go back and look on your own and see what you think about it and investigate it. Now, on a milling machine like this, I don't know why you would have a extra pile of gears. You know, none of these gears were actually interchangeable, so these have either been replaced or they've been, you know, something's happened. So, and you can't tell, and I'm going to miss stuff by only looking at the big pictures here, but I'm not going to spend the time to do it. This handle's on here. Handle's broken off here. Later on, you'll see a picture on the other end. Handle's broken off on the other end. This is a replacement handle on this hand wheel. Switch has been changed out. Just got a big clunky electrical box on it. This knob here this was just originally a nut. This knob is the knob that was used on things like the index centers for the mill, some of the other stuff that used this small one that was threaded 1/4 underneath. So they've stuffed this on here. That's what jumps out at me in the first picture that I can see from the bigger pictures. There's no overarm cover. Now this is an MF, so this is an earlier model machine. This would have come with the cover over the top, because there's a hole that the stud comes out and goes into. And I believe all of the earlier MFs had that cover originally on there. This is another one that I started doing a set of patterns for, but I'm not really even close on them. I've got some other patterns ahead of them. There's only one overarm lock. We should have another one of these locks on this side. So there's first picture. Second picture, there you can see it's basically a better picture. You can see that knob's been replaced. This is one of the 3 styles of overarm supports that goes on here. This is one that was split here on the top and bottom. Some of them were better than others. I can't really tell you the differences in them. Now, we'll see better pictures later on. Like I say, this handle's busted. And it's been repainted at some point in its life. You know, this is a lot of this is showing rust through it. So there's rust on the universal joint shaft there going through. Now this does have the boss for the hinge that's cast into this casting here. So the later ones that I've seen have all been drilled and tapped on there. I think the early ones came with that boss cast in. I think it was either a fairly fragile part or hard to get the casting to come out really right on them. And all of the later ones that I've seen have 2 screws that holds them on with a mount. So I think that was a factory retrofit later on. They decided it was easier to do that than it was to try and cast them in and machine them in the upper section. That's my belief anyway. From this side, this handle's busted off. This is your tension handle. On these earlier machines, it's hard to get the tension right. They will flop on back and forth. They want to undo themselves a little bit. Now this is the earlier guard, the earlier top guard, and the earlier side guard. I think we see better pictures of them later on too. This handle's busted. This is the proper lock knob on here. Now this portion here, and there again I think we see better pictures later on. This was where it mounted the coolant tanks. You see that the optional coolant tank that was on there, and this bracket here, and you'll see 2 holes in almost all of the machines that I remember seeing here, and it mounted this mounting bracket for it. This bracket is an adaptation of the tailstock support for the 6-inch lathe. So, you know, it's back to that thing of Atlas used the same parts for as many things as they possibly could. So that's what that is. Now I've got one of my castings on my machine, a little bit different than this. It's not relieved as well, and this is a nicer casting. I believe probably an original casting here. So same picture here. Now I believe this is at least to some degree a parts machine. I think it is basically original. It may be a transition machine. One of the things that you'll see here is the lever for the back gear on this. This has what I consider to be the later model back gear lever, which has a plunger right here that locks it in the detent. It's an upgrade from the earlier ones. They didn't have this, and this arm just ran in a little bit of into some detent cutouts in the top casting, and they will jump out of gear too. On the earlier ones, that can be a problem. So they solved that by putting a positive spring-loaded detent pin in the later ones. But the earlier machines, I believe, should have had, unless it was a transition machine. So there again, know the machines and do the research on them. There you got a little bit better picture, but you can see that knob right there. That's that detent knob. There's a clear picture of that handle being broken off. Replacement handle, we've looked at that twice already. This is a replacement knob, shop-built knob there on the top. Shop-built knob there on the gearbox engagement lever. When you look at closer pictures of this, all of these knobs, even the ones that are original, or the ones that are original here, they're pretty well pitted, where this has been wet, rusty, whatever the case may be, and they've been deteriorating. So, and you can see coating of rust on most of these other surfaces on the ways there. It's not bad. You've got a coating of surface rust there. So, this machine's not, paint's pretty well wore off here. You can see the speckling there on that knob. This drawbar is not original. This is somebody's shop-made piece of crap here. We don't know what they've done there. Now see, when you look here, and I hadn't noticed it on this lever, or on this label, but I noticed on some other ones, we've got a screw here. We're missing one here. These were originally drive pins. So this has been taken off and they've been repainted. And rather than putting original drive pins back in, why they've probably tapped these and put screws in. There's that cast-in boss. That to me is an early model there. And maybe, no, I believe we see slotted screw heads there and missing one. So these have been taken off and put back on. Some guys will repaint their machines, some guys won't. A lot of times they'll put these, strip the paint off or just paint over the crap that was on there. They leave these big defects. If you're going to take the time to go through a machine, pull the labels off, repaint them and do that, you should do a little body work on those to make those a little bit better looking, in my opinion. You can see this machine's been well used. Look at the cutouts, and those may be cutouts, but chances are those are wear from where the detent pin has just ridden on them over the years. Now this is an earlier machine. 3212 is the serial number. I don't know what the serial number on mine is. I believe it's a little bit lower than that. It's in that 3000 series, but I think mine's a 3000 something. I'll have to go back and look. But there again, you can see screw slots. These were put on with drive screws. So is this the original base casting? And I will say it is, since we've got this cast. Well, that's on the head though. So is this the original base casting, or is this entirely a parts machine? And that I don't know. And the reason I will question that, I'm going to say that yes, it probably is all original as far as the castings. There's no reason that anybody would have really changed them. But like I say, those should be drive screws holding that plate on there. So next picture. This drawbar, I don't know what they've done here. That's some cobbled up thing. We're missing the back cover on this. Now this is going to be a later, if it is indeed a original MF casting, this is going to be a later model, because the very early ones, and mine does not have a cutout on the back. It's solid on the back. So transition machine or a later base casting, I don't honestly know. Machine's obviously been redone, and there's been a lot of things changed on it, a lot of things cobbled together. So what's original and what's not? So are we being lied to about this? Now it's got a Dunlop motor on it, 3rd horsepower Dunlop motor. It's not uncommon to see a Dunlop motor. I've seen more and more of them here lately on machines, but was this, we don't really know what we've got here. This is a bunch of parts along the way. But I guess I should have gone back and looked at some of the pictures closer, would have given a better indication of things like the shift lever. Now this is an early model guard, and this is going to be what I'm gonna say is an A, and I'm not sure. And I have made, no, that's not true. This is going to be a B, because the very early guards, see, this will be a later model, both top and bottom guard. This will be a model B at least. But it's also transition guards here, because the mounting for this one is not the swing open style like on the later models, which would be a B. So this, I don't know, this is confusing to a certain degree, and I'll go back into this. I'll have to dig out castings, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a later video. This has the boss where this lower guard mounts onto a stud. It just slides onto a stud and is locked there with a bolt, very much like the shaper guards are. And then this guard flips open. The later models of these, which are marked B, is part of the hinge assembly, and it swings open. Now mine has the earlier guard, and it would have originally had this boss on it. Mine had been broken off, and before I got the machine, why somebody had built a bracket and bolted it on there. Pretty crude bracket, but it's still on the machine until I finish the pattern for this. I have a pattern for this already cast and made up, with the exception of I've got to go back and put this boss on it and then decide how I'm going to do it. Now it's also completely flat. It doesn't have this raised area here around the outside of the center rib. So I've got an earlier set of guards on it than this has. Now, and that's another thing, because the MFs probably would not have had a guard. The MFG, no, mine's an MF, but mine has the guards on it. The guards were an option on these earlier machines, I believe. It's a confusing area, and we'll have to go back and delve into them, but those are the things you got to decipher when you're looking at these machines. So I don't know, maybe the nameplate's been changed. You know, maybe this is a earlier model head on this machine. Maybe it's a transition where they were still casting these in, yet we're using later model parts. I don't know. Confusing as can be. Confusing. But if we go back, there you can see the shift lever for back gear. See the detent knob in it. And I don't believe that's an original detent knob. It looks like that's changed. I believe it was a little more aesthetically pleasing than what it was. So I think there's definitely been some changes to this machine, but those are some of the things that are variations between the machines and some of the things to look at. This is a $1,200 machine on a good day. That's all it's worth. You know, don't be ripped off for these guys. Anyway, I go on. I got a little more carried away than I intended to. Anyway, comments, suggestions, leave them in the comments section for me below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button and you find this interesting, I would appreciate it. And you guys enjoy your day, and thanks for taking the time to watch.